This is the Bob and Brad Heat and Ice Massage Gun. In today's video, I'm going to talk about what comes with this device out of the box. I'll talk about some of the specifications and features of it, and then I will provide some of my thoughts after using the device. So to start out, let's talk about what comes with this device out of the box. When you do first open the box, it does come in a carrying case. This is sort of the signature look of the Bob and Brad massage guns. You've got this little medallion on it with the Bob and Brad logo. The case is gray. You do have two zippers. The zippers each have the Bob and Brad branding on them as well. One handle, fabric handle with a rubberized grip. Inside the case, you get everything that comes with the device. So the device itself does look like this. You see it's got sort of this metallic silver two-tone look on it. You got some venting on the top. It does have the pill-shaped handle, which is good for grip, and it does have a rubberized handle on it. And then you have the Bob and Brad branding on either side of it. And then you have your power controls on the back. On the very bottom here, you also have a battery level indicator. And you see I have one of the attachments in here already. It does come with 5 different attachments. So this is the hot and cold attachment. It also comes with these attachments that all are inside the case. So you have a hard plastic bullet attachment, a softer air cushion attachment, a firm foam round ball, and a hard plastic fork attachment. Now with the hot and cold attachment, it does just easily pull out just like all the other attachments. However, the fork attachment does have a little line indicator on it to make sure that it slides in one way particularly so that it doesn't rotate when it's in. Now with the hot and cold attachment, this is a self-powered device, so it does have a USB-C charging port on it. And then you have 2 different functionalities for both hot and cold on it. And then each of those temperature settings has 2 settings within it themselves. So the hot function on its lowest setting is going to be 104 degrees or 40 degrees Celsius. And on the high setting, it's going to be 113 degrees or 45 degrees Celsius. The cold setting, it's going to be 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius, or 59 degrees Fahrenheit and 15 degrees Celsius on the cold side. All you need to do in order to turn this on is to long press whichever function you'd like, either hot or cold, and it will light up, and then you quick press it to change that function. So there's the warm one. I'll switch it over to the cold here. With the cold, you see it is vented here. There is a quiet little fan noise. So that is how you easily switch between those. You see it changes colors based on which setting you're on, and then you just long press it to turn it off. Now the fan will run for 10 seconds after you turn off the cold setting, but it does go off after that 10 seconds. Next, inside the case, you do have an instruction manual, which is more just a basic warning and user guide, but in the back of it, there is just some guidelines in terms of how long to use your device, which attachments to use, and where you're going to be using on your body. You do get a USB-C charging cord. I have so many of these, I haven't even actually opened this one, but it does have a little zippered pouch to it. So if you wanted to store it in here, you could. And then it does also include 2 additional rubber gaskets. These gaskets go on the attachment heads here. I've never had any of them break, but a lot of the Bob and Brad devices do come with those extras. So that is everything that comes with the device. Now let's talk about some of the specifications and features of the massage gun itself. Now, this is actually the Bob and Brad C2 Pro at its base level. It's really just the hot and cold attachment that makes this the heat and ice massage gun. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the heat and ice massage gun attachment in it for the majority of this video. But again, it does come with the case. The stall force on this device, I've seen 2 different forces listed. On the Amazon listing, it listed as 44 pounds. On the instruction manual, it says that it's 33 pounds. So we're just gonna go ahead and turn it on and test it, and I'll make a judgment call on what I think. Now, one thing that's unique with this device is that it does have a stall force meter on the back of it, and it's gonna change colors as I'm applying force to it. And that color, each indicator has a different amount of pressure. So it's a variable stall force depending on what speed, and it's indicating sort of what amount of stall force you're applying against it. So when it's blue like this, that means that it's got up to 11 pounds of stall force. The next color will be yellow. That means that there's 11 to 17 pounds of stall force being applied. Orange is 17 to 26. And then red is 26 to 33. Again, that's all from the instruction manual. So that's where I'm getting that it maxes out at 33 pounds, but the Amazon listing does list it as 44. So this is on its lowest speed right now. I'm just gonna go ahead and test it just like this. So it does stall. And this one did turn off. You see it's flashing red there. Now it came back on. So I definitely think this is closer to the 33 pounds versus the 44. But again, most of the time we're going to be using this, you're just going to be floating over the different tissues on your body. You're not going to be pressing super, super hard unless you're going after some of those bigger muscle groups. The glutes, the quads, the hamstrings. You really want to dig in and get an aggressive massage with one of your attachments. But for the most part, you're probably not going to stall just generally using this. So that's the stall force. It does have a 10 millimeter stroke length, so that is the distance that this massage head is moving back and forth from the device. It is a 5-speed device, so you saw it earlier, I had this on. Once the device is on, you just quick press this button, and that's going to get you a different speed. So on the lowest speed here, this is 2,000 percussions per minute. Second speed, 2,300. Third speed is going to be 2,600. Fourth speed is 2,900. And then your top speed here is 3,200 percussions per minute. And then in order to turn it off again, you just long press that. Now this does not have any sort of Bluetooth compatibility. It's not adjustable. The battery is not removable on it. I could not find the battery life listed anywhere, but it does take about 3.5 hours to charge. Again, the heated attachment and the cold attachment is charged separately, and that attachment takes about 2 hours to charge and has a 1 hour battery life. Again, haven't fully tested the battery life on this device, but just based on what I know of these devices, you're probably going to have around a 3 hour battery life with that. And that's going to vary depending on how much pressure and what speeds you're using it. So pretty decent there for what it is, for the size of the device. But again, don't quote me on that. I just couldn't find the battery life listed anywhere. The noise on this, obviously you heard it there, very, very quiet. The weight of it is also really nice. It's only 1.5 pounds. And again, you have that pill-shaped handle, so it makes it very easy to hold. Even if you have small hands, it's a little bit easier to hold than compared to some of the big round ones. Some of the original Hypervolts had a big round handle, and it was a little bit more difficult to hold if you had small hands. But this new pill-shaped design that a lot of the massage guns are starting to implement makes it much easier to hold. The price of this is currently $110. It does come with a 1-year warranty. And the only other function that I'll mention that this does have is a 10-minute auto shut off. So once you've been using it for 10 minutes, it will automatically shut off. Same thing with the hot and cold attachment. It's got that 10-minute auto shut off. Both of those you can immediately turn back on and keep using for as long as you want. And I say as long as you want, but I mean for another 10 minutes if you'd like. Overall, pretty impressed. I think we're just gonna start to see a lot more devices. Hyperice was really the first one to implement the standalone cold attachment that I thought was really, really effective. This, just in terms of the actual temperature of it, I think it could get quite a bit colder and quite a bit warmer. But what I will say, it is immediately cold to the touch. It is immediately warm to the touch. It's definitely noticeable, and because it's only a 10 millimeter stroke length, the one thing that I think I've seen as a flaw in a lot of these is that once it turns on and it's being heated, because it's moving so fast, you don't actually get that heat. With this, because it's only a 10 millimeter stroke length, you actually do continue to feel that in any of the tissues that you're massaging. Now, one criticism or really question I would have with this is the fact that it does have the cold function. I personally don't think you should really be using that while you're massaging, because when you're putting that cold on your attachments, it's going to cause your muscle to tighten up. And even if you are dealing with some inflammation there, I personally just don't think it would be smart to be sort of hammering on it while you're putting that cold attachment on it. Again, you do have the capability to do that if you'd like. The technology in this, again, I just think it's going to only get better. I think we're going to see more and more massage gun companies coming out with this feature next. I think you're going to see some of the technology from the Recovery Therm line and Therabody into their devices. So no surprise here that Bob and Brad introduced a standalone attachment. But the great thing is that this should be compatible with a lot of the other Bob and Brad devices. Again, don't quote me on that, but from the attachments I've seen, most of their attachments are similar in size, so you might not need to get this whole device. I don't know that they do actually sell this attachment by itself, but if you do have some of the other Bob and Brad devices and you're curious, let me know in the comments, just because I am curious myself. But I think you should be able to use this. I'll maybe try it out in some of my other ones. I have a lot of their devices, but overall, I'm impressed with it for what it is. Great price point. My only really criticisms would be higher stall force. I wish it had a longer stroke length. Again, when you do start to get in that longer stroke length, you put risk of feeling that heat. So the shorter stroke length actually plays to the advantage here in this case. I wish it did have an app and some of that compatibility, but again, for the price point, and sometimes there's coupons depending on where you're buying it. You can even get it down under $100, which is awesome. But overall, if you guys have questions about this, please go ahead, drop it in the comments down below. If you like videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel, hitting that notification bell. It goes a long way for me to continue this channel and continue reviewing products like this. Otherwise, that is the Bob and Brad Heat and Ice C2 Pro. That's a review. Enjoy your recovery.